Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. And well, I don't really have a lot to talk about. This week has been pretty calm. I've just been doing some wormhole stuff. I've also been trying to rest as much as possible to crush the final remains of that gold that floored me a few weeks ago. It's not completely gone, but I'm working on getting rid of it completely. So yeah, other than that, I actually hope that you guys have had a decently relaxing week, just as I have, because next week is going to be a bit more interesting, I think, with the Tiamat release. Anyways, we are here for the market, and oops, that's a little bit of a cheat for later. So here we go, we'll start with plex, and that's at like 50 seconds. And plex are up a little bit. They are up to 806 million here. They were actually only up to 805, I think, when I checked them for the banner. But that's still okay in my opinion. It's not too drastic just yet. It does mean that the downward momentum is not really that visible at the moment. Here, if we go for the 1 month chart, it's still there a little bit. It's good to see that the 20-day moving average is still slowly trending down, and that after jumping just above that, the 5-day moving average is already correcting back. So we actually had a little temporary spike to almost 812 million, but it's already coming back down. So it is normal, of course, that there is some variety. Nothing goes straight up or straight down in any market. And here for the plex, once you come close to 800 million, or if you even break that, look at that, 798 here for the 5-day moving average on the chart. There are a lot of people that will say, well, 800 million, that's actually a really good price for me to pick up some of those sell orders that dip just below that, driving the price up above it once again. So there is some hesitation in plex to go a lot lower all of a sudden. The fact that 800 million has been broken, I think, is a good sign, though, that there is still some momentum in downwards pressure. And if I look at some of the numbers here, 3, 4, 5, 3, 7, 5, these are decent numbers, all of them pretty recent. In fact, all of this is pretty recent. So there are people bringing plexes to the market to try and cash them in just above 800 million. If that psychological barrier could ever really be broken, we could see plex go a lot lower. But for now, it's just moving around that price mark. But nothing too much out of the ordinary, like a huge spike of 50 million or anything like that, which we saw earlier this winter. So let's check out minerals next. I'll start with 250 with titanium, which are up just a little bit, and that is good. Here we go, that's downtime coming in an hour. I was a little bit afraid because last week I had noticed that titanium was actually really starting to trend down, and that the 5-day moving average was staying below the 20-day moving average, and it was really the only mineral that was not showing a sign of a sideways movement, which I was expecting from supply demand. So it's good to see that here last week 5-day moving average did decide to cross the 20-day moving average, and that just above 6 ISK, it looks like titanium is going to try to maintain itself just above that. Still 5-day moving average dipping just below that, so we are seeing a bit of mirror activity to plex. People were all of a sudden very interested in some titanium below 6 ISK, just so driving the price up. And so it's really supply demand that is going to be the most important factor, I think. And you do have a sell order of 1 billion units at 604. But you have 2 billion here, 1.4 billion here, a few more of 500 million, which, well, you have to dig a little bit lower to find those, another 1 billion here on the buy order. So I'm still seeing plenty of demand to support a sideways movement, and we're also seeing healthy supply come in whenever they find an opportunity to sell titanium for just a little bit more. So I think I'm reading the market correct when it comes to minerals here at the moment. I think we are in for some sideways movements in the upcoming days and weeks. And here is pyrite then. That one is actually taking off a little bit. Strange. You could see this. This is why I'm thinking that most minerals, or at least the high-sec minerals, have been moving sideways or are in for a sideways movement, starting at 12.15 and until last week, staying right there, just so a little bit below that, a little bit above that, below that again, and then going back up. But here, a little bit of a spike, 12.35. Let's see if it's managing to maintain that. It does look like it. 12.41 for the sellers, 12.16 for the buyers. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. 200 million, 260 million, 132 million. Here we have 750 million, 286 million. So I'm still seeing the edge here in demand as well. Although, yeah, 12.16, let's see where that is on the charts. Actually, 12.16 is pretty much where Pyrite has stayed for the entire month. So the question is there going to be enough supply coming in to close that gap, to bring the price back down in the upcoming days, and to on average keep Pyrite a bit closer to 215, 220, something like that. I think it's still in the cards. You are seeing a couple of very recent, decently large orders that are trying to take advantage of this small spike here for Pyrite. So I think it's in the cards, but we do need to see some more supply coming in for Pyrite if we are to actually see sideways movement. It's interesting where last week I was afraid that minerals would start to be going down here for Pyrite. We've got this nice little spike, so it's pretty much the opposite direction. Let's have a look at Mexalon. That's okay in my book, still slowly trending down, but above 60 ISK I think would be pretty good for the Mexalon market, for the high-sec miners, to still manage to maintain some decent profits per hour. And well, a little bit of a dip here, just like with titanium, but again, I think it was last week where the 5-day moving average crossed the 20-day moving average. It's just below that again, but at around 6.61 ISK I think is where Mexalon is going to try to settle, or between 60 and 61. If I look here, buyers 60 ISK, sellers 61 ISK, very small margin. Numbers wise, this is 3.5 million, this is 76 million, another 60 million, but here we've got 200 million, most recent order above 60 ISK. That's obviously going to support a sideways movement or a price above 60, so that's pretty good. Again, I think for Mexalon, sideways movement is in the cards. I'd give the edge just a little bit to demand here. People are willing to spend some money to get that Mexalon, so there is probably enough industrial activity as well, which has always been reflected in the stable tech one market. And so yeah, Mexalon, I think between 60 and 61 ISK, we'll see it trending there for now. Isogen, final, I would say, real high-sec mineral. Again, a decent month for stability-wise, you know, at around 127. Small spike here at the tail end. We've seen that before, though. So let's see if it's managing to maintain a price above 130. Sellers 132, buyers 130. Again, here 12 million coming in, but also 14 million on the buy order. So in general, I'm seeing more demand than supply in the minerals. Most of them are moving sideways, so I do think that there will be enough supply to plug the gaps decently quickly, but both Isogen and Pyrite are a bit higher this week for some reason. Maybe let's see if it's a volume thing. It doesn't look like a volume thing to me, nothing completely out of the ordinary there. So if supply comes in to plug those gaps, expect both Isogen and Pyrite to correct a little bit towards the same price as last week. But in general, I would say that high-sec minerals are going to be trending sideways here with a healthy demand and then supply that tries to take advantage of higher prices if they happen. Next up, Noxium, what I'm calling the in-between one. That's really crawling out of the hole here, still trending up towards 680, 684 for the sellers, 667 for the buyers. It's nice to see that the buyers, the demand side, is following up, so they're not trying to keep the price very low. Noxium is really making a bit of a comeback right here, and if I show you guys the 6-month chart, you can see that it is coming back to prices that Noxium had about 6 months ago. So it's going to be interesting to see if it can actually break that, if it has enough momentum to keep up. But Noxium is a little bit different apparently from all the other minerals in how it's been doing. A very steep decline about 6 months ago, with the bottom at almost 520. That's pretty damn low, and now it's back up towards 700. This is some good money that you could have made in about 2-3 months if you had bought here at the bottom. Unfortunately, I decided to invest in Megasite, and as you can see, that one is not doing so well. It's trying to find its bottom. It's been doing that for quite a while though, and so 730, you know, it broke 720 right here. We're almost at 700 on some of these data points, and so now the 20-day moving average and the 5-day moving average are trying to find each other at around 730, but that's still extremely low. So 720 for the buyers, 742.43 for the sellers. 730 is right in between that, and I'm not sure if Megasite is in for any real comeback, such as what Noxium has been able to do. And from my point of view, it's not looking like that. And I also chose Zydrine when that one was going lower and lower, but I was way too early on that as well. So here we have the Zydrine chart for the last month. Again, not really great, hanging at around the 420 price mark, 421 for the sellers, 400 for the buyers, pretty much. So very small margin. I think you'll be able to pick up some Zydrine for 410, which if you look at the 6-month chart, you can see it had a little bit of a spike, but it's still also trying to find a bottom. And if I go for the 1-year chart, you can see where Zydrine actually comes from 700 ISK. So extremely low prices for Zydrine and Megasite, which I've invested some ISK, maybe a few hundred million. It's not like I've bankrupted myself with those investments, but they were the wrong investments. It's really in Noxium where we should have made our move, because that one has already made quite a nice comeback. So yeah, interesting how, despite the fact that it often shows a very stable and a very strong trend in the mineral markets, there is some money to be made on speculation as well. Unfortunately, in my book, it still remains a little bit of a gamble whenever you decide to jump on board with these. And I gambled wrong on Megasite and Zydrine. People that took the gamble on Noxium have probably been able to make nice profits of let me see here, 40-50% in just a few months. So if you went in big, you could have made quite a bit of money. Anyways, that's it for the mineral markets. Moving on to the Tech 1 chips at 1205. That has been extremely stable. There is no sign of that changing, and so I do think that the higher high-sec mineral prices with the high demand there are reflected in the high industrial activity and the well-supplied market that can easily react to any price spikes with more supply, and so we get a decently stable Tech 1 market. Here is the Caracol. Maybe I should go for the 1-month chart just to see what they've been doing in about a month. But yeah, starting at 10.6 million, a little bit of a spike up, supply coming back in, and now right here again at 10.6. So that's pretty stable. Here is the Dominics slowing down at 197. I'd prefer to see the Dominics a bit closer to 195 or even 190. So Dominics are a bit high at the moment, so let's see if supply is coming in. There we go, 74, 22, 40 Dominics. Daily average is probably 60 to 70, something like that, with spikes at around 100. Those days are there as well, but here we go. Price is close to 200 million. People have been producing some Dominics. Industry can shift decently quickly. Supply is coming in, so I do think that there is some pressure on the price here at the moment, and now we will start to go back towards the 190, which is a more normal price for a Dominics. Here is the Drake chart then. I'm trying to see if anything drastic has happened in the last week or in the last month or so, but nope, for the Drake, starting at 48.2, ending at 48.2. Pretty damn stable. Here's the Myrmidon chart, yeah, going up just a little bit, but as you can see at around the 51 million mark, so it's not, and now holding at 52, so there may be a bit of a lack of supply. Yeah, there is a bit of a lack of supply in the Myrmidons here at the moment. Sellers going up to 54, depending on how fast supply is going to come in for more Myrmidons. This could be a very short-lived spike. If someone notices it and plugs it, it could be very fast. If this stays for another week, you could see a bit more of a spike of a trend up here for the Myrmidon in the next few days. So maybe an opportunity for some industrialists that have some Myrmidons lying around. Here's the Rupture chart again, starting at 9.8, ending at 10.4. That's pretty stable. The Rupture has really been a very stable ship over the last few months. And then here finally is the Talos, which has just known its spike. So a nice little spike up from 75 to 80 million. still in Tech One market they're not that big percent wise, but then supply comes in here. You can see 11, 21, 18, 12, those are the remains of bigger sell orders, people trying to take advantage of almost 80 million for Talos, and it comes back down to its more normal price of around 75 for Talos at the moment. So this is how the Tech One market has been functioning for now. I do think if you're looking for opportunities in there to try and produce, it's very hard to get in the market. Most people already have fully researched blueprint copy originals, and so they can squeeze everything out of the margins. But if you are interested in the Tech One market, yeah, look at some opportunities where, well, you see that the supply is just lacking. Know that this will always be temporary, so don't go in too big volumes and just try and make a few million here and there. I think that's really all there is to do for new industrialists that can't make up the very small margins with large volumes. Try and find that one product that you could produce decently quickly in a small volume, bring a few batches, try and take advantage of temporarily high prices. But other than that, bide your time, you know, get those fully researched blueprint originals as well, get your industrial lines in order so that you can compete with the other guys that have already been doing this for quite a while. Next up, take to market for some trade opportunities. I think that's something that a lot of people would like to realize. So here we go, 1630. Here's the basilisk chart. Maybe I'll go for the 6-month chart here, off of a little spike here. So you're a little late to sell, but maybe if you want to still sell a few basilisks, you could sell them at like 195 or something like that, but the spike was up to 210, so it shows that unfortunately the opportunity for basilisk selling opportunity is just over. Here's the Guardian chart. That one is finally coming down after a decent double spike up to 155. Currently you're picking up them for like 136, 137, which is still a little high. Honestly, I think you can pick up Guardians lower than that. Below 135 is in the cards, close to 130, and then on another spike you're looking pretty good for Guardians, so maybe wait a little bit longer in my opinion. Here is the Hound, yeah, seemingly taking off here from a very low point of 18.6 million. It's already back up to 19.4, but it's still below 20, so keep an eye on it. But I don't think that I think that there is still a chance that this momentum could be crushed. And so you saw that it has nice spikes on at 23, 22 and 21 here. It's still too early to make a move, I think. Oh man, still too early. Don't wait a little bit. It's not such a good week so far. Here is the Manticore holding at 22, spikes at 25 and 25 here again, 24 here. Let me see, supply demand. There is decent supply, so it's dangerous. I still think that this is dangerous as well. Next up, the Nemesis. That's more interesting. Nemesis below 20 million. That's usually something that you can make some money off of. 19 million for the buyers, so you can definitely pick up Nemesis below 20 million. Previous spikes here coming off 26 about 6 months ago, but here 22, 23, another at 22 and another at 23. So the Nemesis is interesting if you have some ISK to invest. Here is the Nighthawk, the one command chip. I still check to see if that is more interesting, but nope, still holding well above 265. Too stable in my book to invest in that, so I'm still not looking at command chips at the moment. Here is the Oniros, nice little downward trend down to 155. The buy orders 152. I'll admit that it's decently risky, but here 170, 170, 180 and 175 almost on these spikes. So on Neros, yeah, perhaps there is an opportunity there. It's unfortunate that the previous bottom was found as low as 140, so obviously that was the best opportunity to purchase them, but now 155 and way below that 152 for the buyers. On Neurosos, I think there is an opportunity there as well, but you can't really say how quickly you'll turn a profit. Of course, that's very difficult because we are on a downward momentum that seems to have just stopped. So yeah, look at the Oniros. Here is the Purifier also going down off of nice little spikes here. So currently Purifiers well, buy orders below 18 million, that's not bad. I think there is decent supply still. But if you want to invest them for like more of a medium-term investment in some purifiers, it is a possibility. Keep in mind though, we've been as low as 17 million before, and that could happen again, of course. And here is the scimitar holding at 150, showing some stable weeks here. Unfortunately, we do prefer to see nice little double spikes up to 170, 175, I'm sorry, where you could have purchased them as low as 140. We're currently looking at 143 for the buyers. So there is a decent margin between buyers and sellers already. The new sell orders are not that big anymore, so yeah, maybe on the buy orders there could still be a slight opportunity. Unfortunately, scimitar has shown some stability, and so you never know when the next spike is going to be. That's always very tricky to time. You'd want some a sign that there will be some big volume. So if maybe you have some contacts in 0-0 or something like that, and you know that someone just lost a pretty big fleet that uses scimitar logistics, that could be the right time to make your move. Or if you want to be sure at some point that is bound to happen, so if you want to purchase some scimitars on buy orders, I think it could be an okay move as well. Anyways, that's it for the Tech 2 markets. As you can see, we are actually looking at a lot of buying opportunities, not so much selling opportunities this week. Moving on to the Tech 3 markets, 2120 for that. Obviously the confessor still stabilizing, and because it is so new, it's very difficult to see any big swings in the confessor price. So 45 for the buyers, 47.5 for the sellers. Well, that's an okay price, pretty close to production cost. It's of course in the cruisers where the more interesting stuff has been happening. This is the Legion charts. Yep, slowly trending down. I do think we are back where at a point where oversupply could start to take over. There are some big buy orders, but they are very opportunistic at 160 or 161. So here we have 11, 4, 13, 13, 29. A few of them are older, so it is slowing down for the Legion, which is also why the downtrend is slowing down as well. But I think it's still there. Here is the Loki chart, a little spike, but as you can see, the trend is back down, and this is the example I was looking for. 37, less than a day old, 27, less than a day old, 43, 11, 10, 17, 17, oversupply for the Loki. This is going to push the price of Lokis down even further. So yeah, it's just a reality in the Tech 3 cruiser market at the moment. Here is the Proteus, also hesitating, but still trending down. Let's see supply. Oh my, 30, 31, 10, very recent. This one, look at that, less than 12 minutes old. Yeah, this is going to put more pressure on the prices for Tech 3 cruisers. And here is the Tengu. You may have already seen from the ticker that that one is also going down and is at oversupply here, 24, 10, 14, 10. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that that is taking over once again. The confessor, I think, has been a major trigger in this big price spike where people were trying to yeah, maybe allocate some resource to that, having an impact on supply. A couple of good buyers when they were extremely low, like close to 130, you get this nice little spike, but now everything has settled down, oversupply is back. It's going to be interesting to see what the next Tech 3 destroyer is going to have for an impact, but I think it's going to be a lot more tame than what the confessor has done, being the very first one. Still, it's pretty interesting, and this is why my extra material is also going to go in this direction. I'm going to check on the ancient relics for those Tech 3 destroyers. So let's take a look at that. Should be in manufacturing and research, and here we go, ancient relics. And the one I'm looking for are these small intact hull sections, small malfunctioning hull sections, and small wrecked hull sections. These are the sleeper loot from data and relic sites in wormhole space that can yield you a confessor blueprint copy. My expectation is that these will also be used for the other destroyers, and this is exactly what I was hoping to see, a resurgence of the price of these. So this is a small wrecked hull section. It was a new product together with the confessor, but unlike the confessor, you can see that it's going back up here. You will bottom at below 10 million, which is probably where in the end, after all the dust has settled and all the Tech 3 destroyers have been released, where these will end up, but it's already back up to 30 million, and I think that that is on speculation, on trying to get some of those ready for Zweepool blueprint copies to be amongst the first, to bring them to the market, and just try and cash in on the newness of the ships. And so that is obviously happening right here. Small wrecked hull sections have been going up in anticipation of the Zweepool release. Here is the malfunctioning one. The difference is it gives you a higher percentage chance of ending up with a blueprint copy of your choice. So bottom at 20 million and back up to 80 million, 4 times the price. So I do think we sold like last week, or maybe just the week before that, a little bit early, but we wanted to be sure. But this is 4 times the price from the bottom. So this is already a Zweepool reaction, which is not that small in the malfunctioning one, I would say. Not bad at all. And I think upon the release of the Zweepool, this could know like a little bit of a spike, then again it's going to settle down. But on the next one we could again see a spike. So it's a very interesting one, where any news on the next one could have an impact on this, and there is some opportunity to make some money. And here is the intact one. I think that one gives you the best percentage chance, 39% base chance, so that's not bad at all. The bottom, I would put that at like maybe 70 million, something like that. And currently they are going for, oh my god, 170 million for the sellers, 137 for the buyers. That's quite a lot. I do think we sold ours close to 150, so not that bad. It has slowed down. It's been a slow trend. People were expecting, oh yeah, this is going to be for the Zweepool as well, let's hoard some of them, let's try to not cash in our chips just yet. But the general trend has been there, and it's been quite significant. Pretty much a doubling in price for the small intact hull section as well, and a quadrupling in price for the malfunctioning one, which is currently selling for almost 80 million, buyers at 70 million. Not insignificant that the buyers are actually following suit, and also are accepting these higher prices for these what are they called, ancient relics, to produce blueprint copies or research blueprint copies for the Tech 3 destroyers. Pretty interesting stuff, and I think we made a decent move in this one. We made some decent money holding on to them over the course of the last few months, and then selling them last week I think has been quite okay. A little early, sure, but we want those profits, and we were willing to to sell them at that point. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. Maybe finally, let me see here, the bottom below 10 and current prices, 30 million, almost a tripling of price. I'm a little bit surprised that it's a small intact hull section, what you would consider the best one, that has actually made the smallest percentage move. But it's, of course, from 70 to 170 million is still 100 million profit on those that you manage to buy at those really bottom prices, which you can see right here. Look at that. Buyers at 73 million. You would call that almost crazy right now, but then it jumped to 103, 126, and now 137. So yeah, they really have been as low as 70 million, and I'll bet that some people have made quite some money on this already and are still banking quite high, because the Zweepool has not been released just yet. So there you go, guys. This is, I think, a perfect example of why keeping an eye on the news, keeping an eye on the market, can really make you a fortune in not that much time. We're talking January 4th or something like that for the bottom of some of these in new goods there. So there is still some opportunity in new goods as well, despite a weird chart for the Confessor that just stays very stable at its production cost at the moment. So yeah, there you go, guys. I hope this shows you that IFTOC can actually make you some real money as well. I was a little bit late, of course, because I made my move in secret, but I hope that this shows you, it gives you a good example of opportunities that you can find looking at the news and looking at the markets. Anyways, that's it for this IFTOC then, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.